Good evening. Such beautiful music and such beautiful faces of our Holocaust survivors. My name is Maya Gumirov from Holocaust Community Services at CGE Senior Life. Thank you for joining us and our partners at the Illinois Holocaust Museum and Education Center and Peter Polsky Freedom Fund. I am a daughter and granddaughter of Holocaust survivors from the former Soviet Union, and I am humbled to open our Never Heard, Never Forget commemoration of the victims and survivors of the Holocaust on the Nazi-occupied Soviet territory. Today with us, Holocaust survivors, students, families of survivors, educators. I especially would like to thank Jeff Allison from Bernard Zell Ensche Day School. He joined us today together with his 8th graders. And this year, students at Bernard Zell Ensche Day School create an exhibit that explores how photography before, during, and after the Holocaust connects to their own lives today. I also would like to thank David Lisker, world-renowned musician who you just heard. David is newly appointed professor of violin at Western Michigan University. David is also known in Chicago as artistic director of Lisker Music Foundation, organization that supports music through the acclaimed concert series, young artist scholarship competitions, and outreach programs. Thank you, David, for your evocative music. This program will be conducted mostly in English, but I would like to say a few words in Russian for our dear Holocaust survivors from the former Soviet Union. Добрый вечер. Меня зовут Майя Гумиров. Я дочь и внучка людей, переживших Холокост. И сегодня я с большим волнением открываю эту программу в память о многочисленных жертвах и в честь тех, кто выжил в огне Холокоста. Я хочу поблагодарить Holocaust Community Services, CGE Senior Life, где я работаю, а также наших партнеров Illinois Holocaust Museum and Education Center и Peter Polsky Freedom Fund. Я также хочу поблагодарить Дэвида Лискера, известного скрипача и профессора Western Michigan University, и студентов Bernard Zell Ensche Day School, которые вместе с нами сегодня и со своим преподавателем Джефф Эллисон изучают историю по фотографиям. Каждый год, 29 и 30 сентября, мы зажигаем свечи в память о жертвах и в знак признания тем, кто погиб, и тем, кто выжил в огне Холокоста на оккупированной нацистами советской территории. Мы помним, что в течение этих 2 дней нацисты убили 33 771 еврея. Сегодняшняя программа в основном будет звучать на английском языке. Для ваших детей, для ваших внуков, для всех тех, кому эта страница Холокоста все еще остается неизвестной. Я надеюсь, что мы сможем перевести выступление нашего главного гостя, католического священника Патрика Desbois, и познакомить вас с его уникальной работой по увековечиванию памяти жертв Холокоста на оккупированной нацистами территории бывшего Советского Союза. Every year, on September 29 and 30th, we light candles in memory of victims and survivors of the Holocaust on the Nazi-occupied Soviet territory. We remember that during those 2 days in 1941, the Nazis killed 33,771 Jews. It was the beginning of the Nazi final solution. From the beginning of the occupation and in the months following the first massacre, Nazi authorities and their collaborators killed thousands more Jews at Babi Yar, as well as non-Jews, including Roma, Gypsies, communist officials, Soviet prisoners of war, and Soviet civilians. It is estimated that more than 100,000 people were murdered at Babi Yar. In our own Chicago community, virtually every Russian Jewish family has a connection to these losses and a story to tell. Today, our younger generation, grandchildren of Holocaust survivors from the FSU, will share this story by reciting a famous poem, Babi Yar, written by Russian poet Evgeny Yevtushenko. It will be done in original Russian. Please see translation in the chat box. We will then hear from teens who have joined voices a GUF teen foundation dedicated to understanding and supporting needs in our community.
Над Бабьим Яром памятников нет. Крутой обрыв, как грубое надгробье. Мне страшно. Мне сегодня столько лет, как самому еврейскому народу.
Мне кажется сейчас, я иудей. Вот я бреду по древнему Египту. А вот я на кресте распятый гибну. И до сих пор на мне следы гвоздей.
Мне кажется, что Дрейфус — это я. Мещанство, мой доносчик и судья. Я за решеткой. Я попал в кольцо. Затравленный, оплеванный, оболганный. И дамочки с брюссельскими оборками, визжа зонтами, тычут мне в лицо.
Мне кажется, я мальчик в Белостоке. Кровь льется, растекаясь пополам. Бесчинствуют вожди трактирной стойки и пахнут водкой с луком пополам. Я, сапогом отброшенный, бессилен. Напрасно я погробщиков молю. Под гогот: бей жидов, спасай Россию! Насилует лобазник мать мою.
О, русский мой народ, я знаю, ты по сущности интернационален, но часто те, чьи руки нечисты, твоим чистейшим именем брецали. Я знаю доброту твоей земли, как подло, что, и жилочкой не дрогнув, антисемиты пышно нарекли себя союзом русского народа.
Мне кажется, я — это Анна Франк, прозрачная, как веточка в апреле. И я люблю, и мне не надо фраз. Мне надо, чтобы друг в друга мы смотрели. Как мало можно видеть, обонять. Нельзя нам листьев, и нельзя нам неба. Но можно очень много. Это нежно друг друга в темной комнате обнять.
Сюда идут? Не бойся. Это гулы самой весны. Она сюда идет. Иди ко мне. Дай мне скорее губы. Ломают дверь? Нет. Это ледоход.
Над Бабьим Яром шелест диких трав. Деревья смотрят грозно, по-судейски. Все молча здесь кричит. И шапку сняв, я чувствую, как медленно сидею. И сам я, как сплошной беззвучный крик над тысячами тысяч погребенных. Я — каждый здесь расстрелянный старик. Я — каждый здесь расстрелянный ребенок. Ничто во мне про это не забудет. Интернационал пусть прогремит, когда навеки похоронен будет последний на земле антисемит. Еврейской крови нет в крови моей, но ненавистен злобой заскорузлой я всем антисемитам, как еврей, и потому я настоящий русский.
Today, we remember the thousands of mass killings, even beyond Babi Yar, on Nazi-occupied Soviet territory. The mass murder of Soviet Jews saw the deaths of over 2.5 million people. In the beginning of the war, there were no camps. First, there were Nazi death squads, or Einsatzgruppen, and mass killings. The Holocaust by bullets, as French Catholic priest Father Desbois called it. Killings in people's homes, in town squares, in schools and synagogues, in thousands of ravines, and in the darkness of the woods. Everywhere.
Today we also remember those who witnessed their families die in ghettos, death, and labor camps, who survived and then were never again treated with dignity and respect in their own homelands. Prisoners of war and Russian Jewish survivors of mass shootings, ghettos, labor camps, resistance movements, evacuations, and more often hid their stories after the war due to rising and rampant anti-Semitism in the Soviet Union.
Today we remember an experience unique to the Holocaust in the Soviet Union: evacuation. The evacuation started on the third day of the Great Patriotic War. on June 24th of 1941. It was a large-scale relocation to the Far East of industrial enterprises, cultural and educational institutions, food and resources, and primarily millions of people.
Today,
We honor righteous people and all the children who were hidden by the righteous.
Today we honor the Jews who escaped in their own Exodus story. More than 35,000 Soviet Jews who lost all or many family members in the Holocaust created new lives right here in Chicago, in the decades after the war and the fall of the Soviet Union.
Today, in recognition and remembrance of the Shoah, we light candles to remember the 6 million who perished in Holocaust. Сегодня, в знак памяти и почитания катастрофы, мы зажгли эти свечи, чтобы вспомнить 6 миллионов погибших.
Hello, my name is Wendy Singer, Director of Education at Illinois Holocaust Museum and Education Center. I would like to introduce our speaker this evening, Father Patrick Dubois. Father Patrick Dubois is founder and president of Yahad in Unum, Together in One, a nonprofit organization dedicated to discovering genocidal practices wherever they are found around the world, providing documented proof of crimes against humanity and a leading voice of protest on behalf of all past and present victims of mass murder. While documenting the evidence of the Holocaust in Eastern Europe, known as Holocaust by Bullets, Father Dubois and Yahad in Unum have uncovered the location of more than 2,900 killing sites and documented more than 7,000 witness testimonies to the war crimes of the Einsatzgruppen, Nazi death squads, which gave a voice to a chapter of Holocaust history and has remained silent for far too long. Father Dubois documented his research in 2 books, Holocaust by Bullets, A Priest's Journey to Uncover the Truth Behind the Murder of 1.5 million Jews, which came out in 2009, and In Broad Daylight, The Secret Procedures Behind the Holocaust by Bullets, which was released in early 2018. In 2013, Father Dubois began teaching at the Program for Jewish Civilization in the Edmund A. Walsh School of Foreign Service, Georgetown University, as an adjunct professor in 2015. He became a Brahmin endowed professor of the practice of the forensic study of the Holocaust at the Center for Jewish Civilization at the same university. He has received numerous honors for his groundbreaking work, including the Humanitarian Award from the U.S. Holocaust Museum and the 2017 Lantos Human Rights Prize. It's an honor to have him with us tonight. He is going to do a presentation. We will take questions via our Q&A button. If you look on the bottom of the screen, please submit your questions. Please know we have a large crowd this evening and we will try to get to as many questions as we can. Thank you and welcome, Father Patrick Dubois.
Thank you so much. Perhaps you will begin by a video introducing what we are doing on the ground, if it's possible.
And she said, oh, I will show you. And she put her boots, she put her jacket, and she brought us at the end of the village, and she showed 18 small mass graves. She told me I dreamt all my life to find somebody to say what I did. She was 14 years old, Ukrainian, and the morning when the German arrived, they called 10 girls and with a spade. And she asked her mom, must I go? And the mom told her, if you don't go, we will shoot you. And so she was forced to walk on the corpse between every shooting, to pack the corpse, to make space. And she said, suddenly all my schoolmates, Jewish schoolmates arrived and I had to walk on them. My mom came back from the market and she told us we have to suit very well because they killed the Jews this afternoon. So they were suited and they went, and she said for the first shooting we got a very good place, we saw everything. But for the second shooting we didn't get a good place. The Jewish women, before being killed, they threw their jewels because they don't want to give them to the German. And sometimes we find Magen David, wedding rings, medallion. And I say, it's the last jest that this girl did in 42, just before she was shot. And every time I find it, I say, we found you, finally we found you. I never pray because it's to respect the Jewish identity of these people, so I never make a prayer. The fact is to say, finally we found you. Me, when I go with my team, I say, don't forget the dead people are waiting for you. They wait for us since 70 years. When you were sure you were not Jew, you were not gypsy, you were not gay, you were not communist, you were not partisan, why you would be afraid? So you went to watch. People are attracted to go to watch people being killed when if you think there are no risk for them. One lady, by example, she told me, I went to see all the shooting. It was 17 and she was a teenager. And I said, why did you stay to see all these shootings? And she said, it was interesting for the children. And I heard this phrase now hundreds of times, interesting for the children. I realized also that everybody could be a killer, everybody could be a victim. When I knock at a door in Russia, Ukraine, or anywhere, they open the door, and I don't know at that moment if they save Jews or kill Jews. And I would discover that in the interview. And me, when I was younger, I was thinking that the killers had awful faces, were psychotic, were monsters, and the saviors were nice people. Unfortunately, it's only one humankind. And so, everybody can be a killer, everybody can be a victim. It's why we have to teach people to say, one day we have to take responsibility. Sometimes you can think in America you are in a bubble of protections, but that's not true. There is only one planet, and it's burning in so many countries. Be aware, when it begins, it's a disease. The people who spread their disease are smart also. We are never to underestimate the enemies. It's a big mistake. When I was young, people told me, don't speak to deniers. They're old. You have not to speak with them. They will disappear. They are still old, but suddenly arrive new deniers now who are 40 years old, 45 years old, who are driving crowds of people behind themselves. So I learned, I say, what a mistake. And I say, you must stay in a fighting position. The worst would be to sleep well and to dream, because you will wake up in a nightmare. The people who saved Jews, most of them were simple people. And we had a lot of Jews who survived of France because thousands of French took risk to hide them. So me, I always say, I believe in minority. I believe in minority will stand up and carry the flag, and after we can draw people behind them. So, for example, when I teach in Georgetown or we teach in other places, I always say, one day perhaps you will be part of this minority.
So good evening, everybody. And first of all, even if it's late, Shana Tova to you and to your family. It's a very, very special honor for me to speak on this commemoration day of Babi Yar. As you know, I am a priest. I am a French priest in Paris, working also in Washington, teaching in Georgetown. And you can wonder, for people who don't know me, why? Why a French Catholic priest to speak of an Holocaust day? You know, my grandpa, Claudius Desbois, was deported from France in July 42, from France, Strasbourg, to Ravaruska in Ukraine, near Lvov. And he never accepted to speak. Only one time he told me outside the camp was worse than the camp. And me as a child, I was not understanding. He passed away, and one day I went back to Ravaruska. We built a memorial for the French. We wanted also to build a memorial for the Jews because we knew that they shot 18,000 Jews in that village. But nobody wanted to speak. I came 5-6 times in Ravaruska with always the same questions. Where are the mass graves of the Jews? As I say frequently, I was the nudnik of the village with only one question. Finally, the mayor of Ravaruska brought me in a forest with 50 farmers, and that day changed my life until now. What happened? We went in a small village called Borove, and 50 farmers were waiting, Ukrainian people, poor people, very poor people, with their animals. And when we stepped outside the car, they entered in the forest. And we arrived to a pit, and one by one, they began to speak. I will never forget one. His name is Halan. And he said, I was alone with my mom keeping a cow. And suddenly, I saw a German arriving with a motorcycle and a dog. He remembers the dog because the dog was running after the chicken of the village. And this German left. And so everybody in the village was asking what he was doing there, this German. In fact, now we know, because we have been in many, many villages, we know that before the killing, they send an architect, a specialist of the digging of the mass grave. He goes to the starost of the village and he asks how many Jews are still alive. And he will calculate the volume of the mass grave so that the corpse will be inside. Some mass graves are round and they kill people from the top, and some mass graves are stairs and they force the Jews to go down and lay on the corpse. It's called Sardinon Pakum. Effectively, Few days after, German arrived, free German with 30 Jews, but they forced to dig. You know, the people who speak to us are poor people. They are not historians. They say what they saw with their details. They remember the German began to be buried. And they asked for a table and they put a gramophone and they listened German music. And one played harmonica and he broke his harmonica. And later, with metallic detector, we found pieces of German harmonica. After the Germans began to be hungry, they asked 2 chickens to the village and they grilled them. And after they said to the Jews, you should take rest and go out of the grave. So the Jews went out and sat on the grass. But secretly, an Ukrainian policeman went down, a polizei, went down and put explosive under the ground. After they said to the Jews, you can go on digging. And of course, the Jews exploded. I will never forget at that moment, another lady from the village of Borove came. Her name was Maria. She had a blue scarf. And she told me the German came in my village and told me, come, come. And she had to climb on the trees and pick up the pieces of corpse of the Jews and hide them with branches. And after they brought trucks and trucks and trucks of Jews. And they shot them, the last Jews of Rabaruska, 1,500. After me, I began to raise questions because I say, how many Germans were there? I say 3 Germans. I say they had a table with guns. And I said, I say a witness who is not old. And he told me I was 6 years old. And I say, how is it that you were there? He told me because the German on the table, they had the guns, the cartridges, the bullets, but also a box of candies. And so they made distribution of candies to Ukrainian children. And so I was coming to the table. I realized that day that the shooting of Jews in Soviet Union were public. It was like a carnival. It was attractive, like a local attraction. So everybody tried to be there to grab something. After, another man told me, I remember they brought also Jews on cart with horses. And one young Jew, he was throwing a piece of tissue with gold coins on the ground, not to give to the German. And the witness told me, I tried to run to get it, but I was not quick enough, and the German took it. I realized also that some people go to the killing of the Jews because they hope to get something, some money, the shoes, the coats, a chain, a jewel, something. It was an opportunity. I went on asking to the people who were there, and they told me they were not only shooters, they were pushers to push the Jews. And I said, why pushers? They said because they established a law, 1 bullet, 1 Jew, 1 Jew, 1 bullet. So if somebody was old or baby or disabled, they were pushed and buried alive. And they began to say during 3 days, the mass grave was moving. You know, I was in shock. I was a classic priest in a parish. I knew nothing so much about Holocaust. And I wanted to come back and say, okay, I understood the secret of Grandpa. He saw the shootings and he dared to say something, a few things. When we were coming to the car, the mayor of Rabaruska, Yaroslav, he told me, Patrick, what I did for you for 1 village, I can do for 100 villages. And I will never know why Yaroslav said that. And also I will never know why I said yes. I came back to Paris. I met the Cardinal of Paris. His name was Lustiger. He was Jew. He told me, Patrick, I know the story because they shot my Polish Jewish family the same way in Beijing in Poland. I went to New York. I met the manager of the World Jewish Congress. At the period, it was Israel Singer. And with this, I heard, he said in Hebrew, because I speak Hebrew, I heard he said, you know, we are looking for these mass graves since 44, and I have in front of me a guy I don't know, he finds them. So we built this non-profit called Yachad, together in Hebrew, and Inonum, together in Latin. It's a silly name, because when I speak to Catholic, they say, what is Yachad? When I speak to Jews, they say, what is Inonum? And when I speak to non-believers, they don't understand anything. But we are working since now 16 years from Lithuania to Azerbaijan, because they shot people in all the Soviet Republic. The biggest number of victims, of Jewish victims, is in Ukraine. Babi Yar, as you know, is well known near Kiev, but a big site also is near Odessa, Bogdanivka. What did we find? We found that since the first day of the war, the 21 of June, 41, until the last day of the war, the Germans went from village to village to village to village and to shoot Jews, gypsies, and communists separately. How did they do? First, they choose the shooters. The Germans don't sleep in the village, they sleep in the big city, and one day before they say, you will be shooter tomorrow. The Germans drink most of the time before going, but before they contacted an architect to go to the village and prepare the mass grave. So they know before to go how many people they want to kill. They drive in the night and they arrive early in the morning so that the Jews are sleeping. When they arrive, they want to see everybody. They want to see the starost, or the still Soviet. They want to see the diggers, the farmers were digging. They want to see the women who will cook, because they make requisition of cookers, mostly Russian. And they want also to meet the politsai, Ukrainian, Russian politsai, or Belarusian politsai. They decide to surrender the ghetto with machine gun, and they make an announce that the Jews are deported to Palestine, or deported to Kiev, or to work, and that they have to meet in the main road with all their belongings. You know, the Jews were Soviet. They knew that was deportation. It was not a good news, but not necessarily the death. So most of the Jews gather their belongings. They put 2-3 coats, even in August, all their jewels in their pocket, their money, their forks, everything that they have, and they make a line. But you know, the Germans were working with the local polizei. So if somebody is missing in a family, the father, the mother, a child, the polizei is from the village, so they know everybody. And they will look in the house everywhere, where is this person? And if the person doesn't want to go out, they kill them. So after a few hours, there is a long line of Jews, and after carts and carts of dead Jews. They wait for an official from Germany who will come and will say, direction Palestine, direction Palestine. And so people walk The trick, you know, so most of the time, they make the mass grave in the direction of the train station, so that the Jews will think they really will take the train. But suddenly, they told them, links, rechts, it's finished. Right, left, no more train station. At that moment, the Jews realize they will die. So the women take out their jewels and throw them not to give to the German, and the men try to destroy the money not to give to the German. It's why with metallic detector, we can find so easily Magen David rings. One day I found more than 30 wedding rings near a mass grave. It was very moving for me because I realized it was 30 women before to die who threw their wedding rings. And after they make the Jews sit down, they will ask them to undress with warm coat because they want the money within the pocket. And after they will isolate them 5 per 5 or 10 per 10. Why 5, 1, 10? Because there will be 5 shooters or 10 shooters. 1 bullet, 1 Jew, 1 Jew, 1 bullet. The same day, they will cover the mass grave, even if people are still alive, bring back all the suits with the farmers and cart and horses to the village. In the same night, they will clean all the clothes and sell them by auction. And in many, many villages, people told us after 3 days, we were all suited in Jew. After, they will empty the Jewish houses, chairs, all the belonging, tables, and bring that in the school and sell it also by auction. It means after 3 weeks in a village, no more Jew, no more dresses, no more suits, no more belonging. It was a total destruction of the Jewish communities, and in many cases, not one survivor, except the people who could escape before with evacuation or could hide somewhere in the forest. Altogether, we have now filmed, because we take movies of everybody, we have filmed nearly 8,000 farmers, non-Jews, from Ukraine, from Russia, from Belarus, from Moldavia, from Romania, from Lithuania, from Estonia, from Latvia, and from Poland. We are still investigating. We have now one team in Ukraine. The border is closed, so we told them not to come back and to make free investigation after one another because we have the problem with the virus. And we have one team who just came back from Poland this week. Strangely, people want to speak. They want to speak before to die, for different reasons. One reason is that we ask, why do you speak? They say, because you ask. One man, he told me, I have 1,500 Jews in my garden and nobody came back since 42. You are the first ones. And secondly, you know, there is a proverb in Russia who say we finish the war when we bury the last victims. And so for them, we are like a French commission who comes to finish the war. As you imagine, it's not easy. It's not easy to listen because sometimes they are really family souvenirs. I remember a boy, a man, he was very old, but during the war, he was a boy, and he was friend with a young Jew, Itzrik. And Itzrik and Anna, the mother, Jew, were hidden in the village. But somebody denounced them, and the German didn't want to come for 2 Jews. So they ordered German colonists, it means German Volksdeutsch, to kill them. These people were not professional. They came to the place, they took Anna and the child in a field of sunny flowers. And so our witness, he was following to see what happened. The mother Anna was begging not to be shot, but the guy, he shot her from a bullet in the end. At that moment, Yitzhak tried to escape. He was running like that, and it took 5 bullets for the guy to kill Yitzhak. After, he undressed the boy and the mother, and he threw the corpse on the corpse of the Jews who had been shot before, and he burned them with sunny flowers. And this interview took place in a beautiful field of sunny flowers in summer. And since that, I can tell you, anytime I see sunny flowers, I think of Yitzhak and Anna. For me, sunny flowers are no more beautiful. Why we do that? My team, we are 29 full-time. I'm not alone. My team is done with Polish people, with Ukrainian people, with Russian people, with Belarusian people. Why do we do that? We do that, because nobody remembered Holocaust by bullets. When you say Holocaust, people say Auschwitz. But Holocaust by bullets, it was more than 2 million victims. Shot one by one by one. Every killer saw the victim, every victim saw the killer. And all the village was around. So it was in public, in broad daylight, and we don't remember. And Auschwitz was secret, we remember. So I realized when you shoot people and you put them in a mass grave, people will keep silent and forget it. And it's a catastrophe for the dead first, because many mass graves today are reopened, so we have to protect also the mass grave, and we are preparing a program to protect the mass grave. We are not in good places because there are many mass graves who are not in good places. We have to protect these people because we cannot say we don't care 2 million Jews, what it was, it's far away. If we say that, we cannot build Europe, we cannot build a modern planet, America, and say, let's forget these 2 million free Jews, they were Soviet. What would it mean? And also, in the Bible, in the beginning of the Bible, Cain is killing Abel. And the first question of God in the Bible is, where is your brother, the dead? So I think since I am a child, and not only me, but the 29 people with me, we have this question of God. Where is Abel? Where is the Jew from Ukraine, from Belarus, from Poland? Where are they? They are behind the church, they are under the market, in a forest, anywhere, like animals. And God said, don't you hear that the blood of Abel is climbing from earth until heaven? It means God is listening to that. And all of us, we will die one day. What we will say when we arrive on the other side to say, we forgot, we forgot you. You were 2 million, but we forgot you. No, we cannot. We cannot celebrate, commemorate Holocaust. Babi Yar was everywhere, in every village of Soviet Union was occupied by the German, until Azerbaijan, until North Ossetia, until Stalingrad and Leningrad, everywhere, in the city, in the village. So today we have to pay tribute and dignity to these 2 million persons who had a story, a family, a past, houses, wedding, children, and have been suddenly assassinated by thousands and thousands of Germans coming from Germany, and we came back after war with no judgment. So we have to keep strong, because today the legacy is very strong of this Holocaust by bullets. When they kill Jews anywhere, they shoot them today. They don't put them in a camp. Nobody rebuilt an Auschwitz. You had shooting of Jews or kicking of Jews in America. We had many shooting of Jews and killing of Jews in France, as you know, and in other countries too, because anti-Semitism, criminal anti-Semitism, is coming back as very, very dangerous. So I am very thankful to speak in front of your community. I know that there are among you many, many survivors from Soviet Union. I would say all my love, all my tribute to you, to your family. Be proud. Be proud to witness in America about what happened to your community, to your people. In the silence of the world, we must wake up. We must transmit that to young generation, because unfortunately, anti-Semitism is not dead. Thank you so much, and I'm ready for any question.
Thank you, Father Desbois, for your words and your passion. And it is an honor to be here tonight with you. We do have many questions. I want to remind our guests tonight that if you do have a question, please submit it in the Q&A function on the bottom of your screen. We do have a lot of questions, so we'll do our best to get to all of them, and I'll try to put some together to answer more than one. A lot of people are so inspired by your work, Father Desbois. Where can people learn more? Are there documentaries or anything about your work that you could recommend for people who want to dig in and learn a little bit more?
Yes, first we have a website, Yaradimnum, an interactive map. On this map, there is every village where we have been and every city. It's a hard job because there is a girl with a team working. So if you pinpoint the name of the village on this map, you can open it and you will see pieces of testimonies, pieces of archives, picture of the past, picture of the present. We want to show the evidence of the crime. So I encourage your center to send a sample of this map. And some villages are not finished because it needs a lot of work, because we need to translate it because it's in different languages. For the moment, it's in English. And don't hesitate. If you want to have details about your village, you can always write to Yarad or write to me through my Facebook, and I will transmit that to somebody. We have somebody full-time, because many families say, in which mass grave is my grandma? In which mass grave is my uncle? In which mass grave is the rabbi? And when it's a huge city, difficult to know. When it's a small city, easy to know, because the neighbors remember very well who was there.
Thank you. So can you tell us, were there mass shootings, Father Desbois, in other places such as Armenia, Georgia, or Azerbaijan?
No, it depends from who. But from the German, no, they limited themselves. They could not reach, they were near Baku. At the end of the war, the German wanted the oil of Baku because the oil was very good, and but Stalin knew it. And so Azerbaijan has never been taken. They arrived very near. And no, they occupied mostly Soviet Union, but not the Republic like Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, and that. No, they didn't go there. It was places for refugee, and many refugees have been saved by evacuation or because they were deported there.
Thank you. I love this question, and I think it's so important. Father, how do you forgive the perpetrators?
I don't forgive. No, first, you know, in my tradition, you can forgive somebody who asks for forgiveness, and nobody asks me after thousands of interviews to be forgiven. And secondly, I'm not here to forgive. I'm here to know the truth. I make investigation. So I suspend my judgment. I don't say, by example, one day I interview a Waffen-SS Ukrainian. I didn't tell him I was with the Jews, of course, because he would never speak to me. We told him we made a book about Waffen-SS. So, or another place, the man, he told me, my mom was cleaning the Gestapo. For me, it's a good witness, because I said, okay, so after school, you went to the Gestapo to see your mom? He said, yes, every day. So he could know everything. So I'm here to find the corpse of the Jews and to know the truth. So we never say what we think because we investigate. But nobody asked for forgiveness. Nobody.
Thank you. When you met with some of the eyewitnesses that you interviewed, can you talk a little bit about how they reacted? Did they have remorse? What was the emotion and feeling? And can you describe that for us?
It depends. It depends. I remember a couple in Novozlatopol. It's a very small village in Ukraine. And the wife was in the school when the German arrested the Jews. So she saw the children, the Jewish children from the school extracted by the police. And when she spoke, she cried a lot because she remembered them. She was not at all anti-Semite. She cried a lot. And she had even to stop the interview to take pills because she didn't feel well, etc. Some others, they don't care. They don't care. And they will say, one man, by example, he was from Romania. He was a military. He has killed himself 223 Jews. He said that in details. And the only problem was the weight of the machine gun and that. We have a special way to make interview also. And so it depends. There is no generality. Of course, some still don't like the Jews, but some were friends with the Jews. I know also a lady, she was a Belarusian. She was young and she was in love with Zamya, a young Jew. So she put a star every day to go to the ghetto to bring food. And one day she was beaten by the police, so she couldn't go anymore in the ghetto. And the day of the shooting, she wanted to join the family. And her mother saw her and extracted her from the colonel. And until now, she told me she couldn't even say they killed them. She said, I never saw back Zamya. You must understand also, some were very friends with the Jews because fighting with the Jews are partisan or in some groups. Some opposite hated the Jews. It depends. But me, I don't care, you must understand. I know a man, by example, he was working in a ghetto. He was a teenager. And he was with the German. And he was in the Gestapo the day they decided the shooting. So I asked him, how did you decide the day of the shootings in the village? He said, we received a phone call from the city and we had the choice in 2 weeks. So we have chosen the best day for the village. And I interviewed him 3 times. He's still, I don't know if he's still alive, but he never knew my position because he was a very good witness. You must understand, we are like police investigating gangs. So we must not say, oh, what did you do? No, we must make them speak. Otherwise, we'll never know the truth. It's very difficult because sometimes we are so upset. We come back in the car, very silent, very sad. It's not easy every day.
Thank you. Father Desbois, we have some people here with us today who want to hear about, we understand you were deported. Do you have any details you can share with us about that?
About my grandpa, you mean? My grandpa deportation, that is the question?
I'm sorry, your father being deported.
My grandpa. So
okay.
he was military, he was French military, and he was prisoner in Germany, and he escaped 3 times, and the 3rd time he succeeded. He arrived to Strasbourg, was French, but under German occupation. He bought his train ticket to join the family, but the woman was selling the ticket. She saw he was escaping, so she called the Gestapo. So he was deported from France to Ravaroska with 25,000 French, were accused to be irreducibly anti-German. Normally, they were supposed to die. They were deported in a camp of Soviet prisoners. And the Soviet corps were still in the camp when they arrived. So they were thinking we will never be alive because it was a cold. If the Russian die, we will die. But after the Germans changed their mind because they lost Stalingrad, and Hitler said, don't kill these French because we will have problems after war. They were thinking after war. So my grandpa survived and came back at the end of the war. So that was, and he was deported in a village where they shot 18,000 Jews plus 25,000 Soviet prisoners. plus an unknown number of gypsy. And so this village is surrounded by 40,000 corpses all around. You must understand, people know Babi Yar, and that's great. But there are so big cities with such numbers, like Lvov. I know a place where there are 49 mass graves near Lvov. And so it's a huge place of shootings. And so many places nobody knows, nobody knew. It's why we have to indicate them to teach, but also on the ground to protect it. So my grandpa was deported to Ravaruska, and after he was sent to 2 other camps, and after he was sent back to Germany, and he came back.
Wow. A question about your life and your life experience. When did you learn about the Holocaust by bullets yourself? And
I learned it in the year 90. It was the end of Soviet Union, and I was traveling to Poland in winter to prepare a pilgrimage for students to meet the Pope in Częstochowa. And I was in many places, and it was dark, it was winter, and I made a mistake in my road, and I asked, where are we? And the guy told me, you are in Ravaruska. It was a village where my grandpa was deported. So for me, it was a shock. I didn't sleep the night, and I understood in one night that Holocaust was a key of my life. And I went to study in Yad Vashem 7 times. And after I say, okay, but it didn't happen in Jerusalem, I have to go back there. And I went back to Ravaruska, and it began like that. Wow. It began in one way. I was not at all like that. I wanted to be missionary in Africa. So I was very far from all that. I knew nothing about Holocaust because in my generation, we learned nothing.
So speaking of that, Holocaust and genocide education is so important. And there are lots of resources out there. Is there anything that you recommend to the teachers who are listening and the educators and the parents?
For me, yes, because I teach in Georgetown, but we make also teaching online. We have Eva with us with training professors of high school, and we make teaching also in Europe for professors. I see a big changement for the young people. My students are, the youngest are 18, 19, 20. You know, it begins to be far away. Some of them know nothing about Holocaust, not even globally what happened in Auschwitz. They know the name of Hitler, but that's it. So we have to begin from scratch. Secondly, it's not the memory of their grandpa, but their grandpa. So it's far away. Me, I try to teach Holocaust like a crime. By example, I will explain how the Germans went in that village, how they dig the grave, how they were killing children, etc., because I want to show it was a personal crime. I think for them it's difficult to swallow the big story of Himmler, Heydrich, Hitler, and all that, and the election of Hitler. It's far away. But, you know, actually in the American TV, you have many series like Criminal Mind. They are used to see investigation. So me, I show them pictures of archives, testimonies of witnesses, etc. And I put them like investigators so they can express what they find. I think they are not to repeat what we say. They have to make their own research and say, yeah, I understood. Yes, they killed the Jews in that village that way. And I see many people who have changed their life with that. We are also ready to bring people on the ground. Every year for spring break, my students, we go in one country, 1 year in Moldavia, 1 year in Ukraine, 1 year in Russia, and it's a full week. And they go on the ground and they see also the witnesses who are still alive. And I can tell you it's a changing life experience. So don't hesitate to go on the ground, not only in Auschwitz, but in the place of killing of Soviet Union. We can help you for that. And so if you need any material to teach to young generation, we can help you and be partner for that. For me, of course, we had not made a collection of 8,000 testimonies for like a private collection is to help young generation to be strong, because anti-Semites are coming back and are very aggressive and go until the killing sometime.
How do young people participate or selected to go on your summer experiences?
What we do, it depends. We have students who come with like a small tuition or something, they internship, and they want to spend 2 months with us and in Paris with the team, look at archives because they read Russian or they read Ukrainian or Romanian, I don't know, and also to go on the ground. So they participate to one investigation. And so they can make script, help us to make resume or things like that. So for them, if suddenly, I know a young guy, he was from Denver, Colorado, he went, stayed 2 months, and he spent 2 weeks on the ground, really changing life, even changed his way of making his future. And so enter in contact. We can also send you, there is Eva, there are other people who can go to Chicago, speak to people. I would be very also happy to make a few interviews of survivors who are in your city, because I know you are many, many Soviet survivors, and we know every village. So when we interrogate somebody, we know where is the church and where was the synagogue and where is the tree and where is the river. And so we have a way of driving an interview who is very different. And so I'm not alone, as I told you, but we are thinking we have to build a young leadership who knows everything, who stays strong, and who drives the boat. We have no choice. We have not only to transmit to a few ones, we have to make some young leaders who will say, yes, me, I want to know, I want to participate, I want to investigate, I'm proud to be Jew, I am Ukrainian, I was from Soviet Union, I have to carry my voice, etc. Because don't forget, nobody rebuilt an Auschwitz. Auschwitz physically has no legacy, but the shootings, it's the legacy of today. All the genocide of today use the shootings, and anybody who attack a Jew will take a knife or rifle. Will not put, no Jew now is in a camp. But if a Jew is attacked in Brooklyn or in other place or in Paris, it's with a gun.
Our tagline at the museum, our mission at the museum, is to remember the past and transform the future. And I know we have a lot of teens who are involved in on this program tonight. So thank you for sharing that. Can you comment on the resurgence of anti-Semitism today, both in Europe and the United States?
It's not the same. We are not in the same place. In one of my students in Georgetown, she was a girl, and she said there was nearly 1,000 of white hate groups. These groups, small or big, none of them like the Jews. And all of them are very aggressive with the Jews. And so they feel free. Holocaust is far away. So they feel free of the legacy of Hitler. You must understand, Hitler is well known all over the planet. I made conferences everywhere, in China, in Asia, in Africa, in Middle Africa. We opened the first Holocaust museum in Central America, in Guatemala. Everybody knows Hitler, but they don't know Holocaust. So these people are proud now. They say, okay, we are far away. We paid the bill. Now we are proud of Hitler. He was a great guy. We have to be strong, etc. And on the other side, you have also the Islamists. My country, most of the attack against the Jews are from Islamists. Recently, we had an attack. He was from Pakistan, and he didn't attack Jews. He attacked 2 journalists with a big knife, and he injured very, very dangerously. It was 2-3 days ago. We had always something. And so you must also teach about that. We must not say the last Jew was killed in 1945. It's not true. It's not true. Even in some countries, they killed Jews when they came back. But after, since that, a lot of Jews have been killed. So we must dare to teach that, to make young generations strong. I'm not optimistic for that, because ultra-right say, oh, we hate the Jews, we dominate the world. Ultra-left, oh, we hate the Jews, they are wealthy, and we have to put them away. Islamists, In the backyard, they cooperate. They have something in common. They hate the Jews in different ways. I work now in Iraq. I cannot tell you I will speak about the Jews in a village in Iraq. So we must not be paranoid. We must be strong. We must find allies around us. But if we are not strong, if we don't open our eyes, we will be in a bad situation tomorrow because our enemies know us.
Yes. We only have a few minutes left, so I do want to touch on this. Many people are reaching out through our Q&A saying, how can they help? Is there anything that we can do here in the USA to help you with your amazing work?
Of course, you can help us sharing your story. Me, I interviewed many, for example, Soviet survivors from Detroit, and I filmed them, and it could help me a lot for my research. And you can also help us financially, even if it's not for big money, because when you have 29 people, we want to finish. We want to find the last mass grave. We want also to protect mass grave with memorials who are not expensive, and we protect them from ever and give back Jewish dignity. And that the children around have to teach. But I think you can also write to us your story very easily and share with us. We will follow all your stories. And I'm very, very thankful for the people who already from Chicago supporters. I'm very thankful to the Peter Polsky family and to all your institutions. But I'm not far. I am frequent half time in Washington, D.C. And I know sometimes it's very cold in Chicago, but I can come and we can think together how to move together. Marco Gonzalez is my director, works with me since 20 years. He can come also. Eva Schaller works for us. She's in New York, can come also. We can try to think together because we have to network together. As I say, good people have difficulty to network. Mafia, you don't need Zoom. They will find each other very quickly. But good people, we have to be strong together and not lonely. So don't hesitate, don't be shy. I stay as a simple priest, was in Ravaruska looking for the first mass grave. I'm still the same person. And my team are so happy to cooperate. I know your community. I've been many times in Chicago and I've been in your wonderful museum. You have a wonderful community. And of course, I am very, very used to the Soviet Jews.
Thank you so much, Father Desbois. I think that your work is amazing. And someone put this comment in the chat that I want to share with you. You're not just a father, you are a hero. And thank you for being with us. This program is being recorded. Many people asked that question, and we will put his website in the chat in just a moment. I now would like to let you know that we are going to be listening to a beautiful melody by Gluck and Krieger, and it is going to be performed by David Litzker. Enjoy.
Спасибо вам.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight, and special thank you to Father Patrick Desbois. It was amazing listening to you, knowing you, and spending just this hour with you. And I just want to say that we had so many questions asked by our audience that you weren't able to read and answer, but we hope that we will be able to share those questions with you, and we'll get answers, because some of the questions were very interesting, very moving. We also have so many survivors here in Chicago area, so Holocaust survivors from different places. And in former Soviet Union, you know, there are so many places of mass killings where relatives of our Russian Jewish community here in Chicago, and still ready to share those stories. We are going to share those stories. We're continuing to sharing them, and hopefully with your help, we will do much more. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight. I hope we will continue learn more and share more. Shana Tova.
Thank you.